Yo, what's up everybody? This is Unpunk bringing you a top 5 best mastery abilities within Fire Emblem 3 houses. Now, if you don't already know or haven't played this game, every time you master a class or get a certain amount of combat experience with that class, you're going to gain a special ability if the class has it. Now, some things were left out in this video. For example, classes like the Noble and Commoner were not included. Most of the starting classes weren't included because their abilities were kind of too similar. A lot of the seal abilities that negate a certain amount of, say, strength or magic from enemy units after combat, and a lot of the abilities that are doing a plus or minus, but that have a lot of different varieties to them, such as warning blow and things like that. Those abilities were not on this list due to the fact that there were so many and they were very similar and they're very situational again, so I didn't think they would fit on this list too well, so I didn't include any of them. Now, we did go through and look at all the lists. Me and my buddy Espion have been spending some good time recently trying to get some nice lists started, and we went through all of the different factors so that we could hopefully have a very accurate and a very good video here for you guys, because we wanted this to be, in our opinions, the most accurate list. Now, if you guys, again, don't agree with anything, leave a comment down and we'll both be having discussions with you guys to see where we come out in conclusion, and maybe in the future this list might change. But for now, this is going to be our top 5 best mastery abilities in Fire Emblem 3 houses, and I hope you guys enjoy. Alright, starting it off, we have the top 5 best abilities. Again, take them with a grain of salt and leave me a comment down below if your opinion is different than mine, which I assume most of you guys probably will. Number 5 is going to be an ability that you learn from mastering the Assassin class, and that is called Lethality. It is a one-hit kill, no matter what, with the exclusion of if enemies have multiple health bars. It will take off whatever the current health bar is and take it down to 0 if it activates. Now, the reason this comes in our number 5 slot is because its activation percentage is based on your dexterity stat, but it's not as simple as just your dexterity stat. So it's your dexterity stat, or whatever the number you have for dexterity, say example, is going to be 100, which is not likely that any character is going to have that, and then you have to divide that number by 4, which in that case would be 25, and that would give you a 25% chance of activation. And obviously we know that in this game it's very hard to get 100 on any stat, if not impossible, because I've never even gotten close to that. So the chance of this ability activating is fairly low, even with a high dexterity. But the good thing is that if you follow the thief and then assassin kind of class going through that path, you're going to have a significantly higher dexterity growth, because both of those classes enhance dexterity growth significantly, if you didn't already know. So this ability comes in very useful, but it just doesn't activate all that often, so that's why it's at our number 5 slot. Coming in at our number 4 slot is going to be a skill called Vantage. Now, this is a good skill with certain characters and in certain situations. That's why it's on our number 4 slot, because it's not something that you're going to have activate all the time or that often, but it does come in handy when it does activate or in the situations when you use it. Now, this skill will allow your unit to attack first if an enemy initiates combat if your HP is 50% or lower. And what that allows you to do is basically get that first hit, potentially defeating an enemy if you have a high power or a high might attack against the enemy, or if your character is maybe Lysethia, for example, how she hits really hard and one hits most enemies. It would be very useful to have on characters like that, especially characters that might not have high defense or resistance and do get lower on health more often. This would come in very handy to be able to kind of push them a little farther forward, be able to defend and hold up a lot better in battle, especially in those hard or lunatic or inferno playthroughs. Now, the downside to this is obviously you have to have 50% health or less, so it kind of comes as that situational where you don't want your enemies, or you don't want your players or your units to have low health like that, but if it does happen, it can save you significantly. So that's why we're putting it in at the number 4 slot. Next up, we have a skill that is mastered from the Priest class, and that is called Miracle. It is number 3 for a couple of reasons, because number 2 and 1 are a little bit better in my opinion, but this one will save your life so many times. Now what this skill does is you have a chance to survive lethal damage, or damage that would ultimately kill your unit, with 1 HP left. You are just at the brink of death if it goes off. Now the way that the ability goes off is based on your luck percentage. So for certain units that have high luck growth, or certain classes that boost luck, it is pretty useful. But most classes, if I do remember correctly, only 5 classes will have luck growth out of any class, or additional luck growth, an additional stat boost for luck, and at most it is 10%. So that's why this comes in our number 3 slot, because it's kind of tricky to get a character with exceptional luck, and if they have exceptional luck, they might struggle in other aspects, just kind of making it a very useful skill, but a little bit less often of an activating skill, because again, it's based on your luck, and luck is somewhat difficult to boost or significantly increase, in my opinion, of course. And that's why we're at the number 3 slot is Miracle. Coming in at our number 2 slot on the best mastery abilities in Fire Emblem 3 Houses is going to be the Wrath ability that you learn from the Warrior class, from mastering the Warrior class, obviously. Now, what this ability is it activates 100% of the time. So it's always going to activate. There is no requirements other than your health has to be lower than 50%. So if your health is lower than 50%, which does happen a lot of the time from my experience in this game, using warrior classes such as Raphael, or maybe Dedu, or Caspar, or some of those characters that have that significant health growth, which the warrior class does add a nice boost to. I believe it is 20% boost. So your health is going to be high, so there's a lot of times where your health might go below 50%, making this ability very useful. And what this ability does is it grants plus 50 for critical hits. That is a 50% chance or more guaranteed if your health is under 50. So if your health is 50% or less, you have a 50% chance or higher to hit a critical hit with every encounter at that point on enemies, which is extremely useful, especially with characters like Raphael, which has a very nice strength growth. So he's going to just most of the time under 50% health with this ability equipped be one-hitting enemies, and that's very, very powerful and can come in extremely handy, especially when versing bosses and those heavy just powerhouse units you fight in those harder difficulties. And that's why we're putting it in at our number 2 slot. Now, coming in at our number 1 slot is my favorite ability that they have ever had in a Fire Emblem game. And I played almost every single one, at least all of the North America releases. And this ability just absolutely freaking wrecks. Like this is great. Now what it is called Lifetaker. It is only learned by the Dark Bishop, so it is a little bit more of a challenge to get, and is only a male class skill, which really is a bummer in my opinion, that there is still the male and female specific classes. But if you can get that Dark Mage and then Dark Bishop and master that Dark Bishop, this skill will be making your units virtually unstoppable. And what it does is it recovers HP equal to 50% of the damage dealt after defeating a foe. Basically meaning you are using the Nosferatu ability, the white magic, but it works for any attack you do, no matter if it's a magic or a physical or anything. There is no limit to this ability's use. So if you can get this on any character, they'll receive 50% of the damage they do to every enemy back in health, basically making a lot of units almost invincible in my opinion. But it does take a little longer to get, so that's kind of the drawback, is you have to get the Dark mage and then dark bishop, and you have to have 2 dark seals, so it can be a little bit tedious to get, but once you get it, your characters are going to be shooting Nosferatu on crack and just healing like crazy. So that's why that comes in at our number 1 best ability or mastery ability from classes in this entire game. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys did, it'd be super awesome if you could drop a like. Really helps me out and helps promote the channel. Again, also consider subscribing if you guys are new. We do a lot of Fire Emblem guides and videos. We have a variety of content here on the channel for a variety of different viewers. So make sure you guys have subscribed with notifications on so you don't miss any of our future uploads. Leave a comment down below on what you thought. If you guys agree, disagree, just think I'm stupid, feel free to throw anything down there. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Love to hear from you guys, and I'll try to respond to as many as I can, as I always do. And I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day. Peace.